Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. They call him the BOAT. And guys, we're getting ready to ride. On down the highway. I'm feeling real good, man. Coming off of a hell of a weekend. Reality of Wrestling back on CW39. I want to thank all the ladies for going out there and knocking it out the park, man, in the inaugural Nashville Classic. Congratulations to Hai Yun. Definitely one of the best, man. She's definitely done a hell of a job in Reality of Wrestling. She wasn't the chosen one or anything like that.
She wasn't.
But I must say she pulled it off, and what a show. As well as Reality of Wrestling is going to be kicking off again this weekend, guys. If you're anywhere near the Texas City area, 10,000 Emmett F. Lowry Expressway, if you're anywhere near Booker T World Gym Arena, come on down and check it out. It's going to be fireworks this weekend, guys. So don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And if you do, you can check it out on CW39 every weekend, every Saturday. So check it out.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was so cool. Again, you and I said this on the phone, I think, was like the show's been on television for the last 6-8 months, right? All over the country. But it hadn't been here at Houston. So it's kind of like one of those things where if it's not happening here, we don't really feel like it's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was cool to turn it on and see it on the program there. Reality of Wrestling, CW39. It was pretty dope.
Yeah, definitely was, man. So as well as, man, UFC 274 was fireworks, as well as the Canelo Alvarez fight. And let's not forget WWE WrestleMania Backlash went down this weekend. So I'm a little tired, as well as I was just outside. I was just outside doing some work on my deck, and I got stung by a bee. If anybody knows the effects of getting stung by a bee, let me know, man, because right now I'm feeling a little funny. I'm feeling a little woozy right now. So let me know if there's any doctors. Is there a doctor in the house?
Is there a doctor in the chat? Wait a minute. How'd you get stung by a bee? What happened?
Man, I was just rolling some on my deck. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like refinishing it a little bit, and a couple of boards that I had replaced, and it was a bee nest right up underneath where I couldn't see it, and one came out from under there, and I didn't realize it, got on my leg, and bang, stung me right on my knee, and man, I mean, brother, it's like somebody shot me in the leg or something. I went running in the house looking for Benadryl, and it's fine, did he? And I was like limping, and I'm like, I mean, the effects lasted for about, I mean, as far as the pain go around like about a 10 for about 3 to 5 minutes. Where literally right now is still throbbing.
Man, yeah. I mean, I've been stung by a bee, but I was young, and then I got stung by a wasp, and that one hurt, like right here on the arm.
Yeah.
Right. And that way it swole up pretty big, and I had to go get to the doctor and get something. But I don't know. I think you'd be all right, Book. I mean,
I'm hoping, as you get older, that this kind of stuff can affect you differently. You know what I'm saying? So if I start getting some kind of reaction, call Charmel. I'm serious, man.
We're gonna see Charmel come in with the EpiPen and like stab Book in the neck to, get him.
I'm serious, man. I swear, man. That thing hurt like crazy, man. But hopefully I'll survive it. Hopefully I'll get through it. Hopefully I'm not gonna have any after effects. Maybe I get some superpowers out of this or something. You never know. I might become the bee man.
The bee man.
the BT. So we might be able to make something out of this, man.
Good Lord have mercy. Yeah, I mean, it was a good week, and also shout out to all the mothers out there. We had Mother's Day over the weekend. I know your queen celebrated. I had my family here at the house celebrating. So shout out to everybody who had a great Mother's Day weekend, of course. Man, it was great. And like you said, this really was the weekend of combat sports, and we got some of the most memorable moments in recent memory this weekend, especially from the UFC, but also in the world of boxing. So I don't know, Book. I don't even know where we start, but I will say your lovely queen has chimed in here and said you could be GIB.
I'm serious, man. I swear, dog. That thing hurt, dog. I ran in the house. Charmaine was on the sofa, cuddled up with the dog. And she, what's going on? Yeah, I'm hurt. That's what's going on. Hey, man, I didn't get a chance to welcome in all the chatters, man. I want to make sure you guys get your champagne wishes and caviar dreams here inside the Hall of Fame today. So definitely make sure you send in your super chats. But I don't know where we start today, man. What's been going on in the world of professional wrestling? Let's start there. Any hot takes? Any hot takes out there we need to talk about?
I don't know if there are any hot takes. At the time that we're doing this, there is a interesting challenge that's been laid out on television. Tonight on Monday Night Raw, you're going to see Cody Rhodes take on Theory for the United States Championship. I think that's kind of some. Yeah. Your eyes just got big on that one, Book. That's an interesting one, right? Because the way that both of them were being booked as of late, especially Cody, they're both kind of in can't lose situations. Cody more so than Theory, but they just gave Theory the title. So it's probably going to have to end in a schmoz or something.
I don't see Theory losing takes anything away from him. You could definitely make something out of it if he does lose. It's just a matter of how he loses, if he loses. So I don't see a throwback on that. But I do see if Cody loses, especially after coming off of a big win over Seth Rollins, that would definitely make you wonder where are we going here. I think I could be wrong, but I think people would wonder more if Cody lost.
If Cody lost, it would make you kind of question his trajectory as of late. That's a hard word to say, trajectory. Because he's kind of being groomed to be the WWE champion, in my opinion. I think you share that opinion too. At least that's kind of where he's presented as. And it's so weird. 6 years is a long time. He almost looks completely different in the ring, right? Like his gear's different, his hair's different. He's got, the neck tattoo that everybody talks about. And but his work is so much different. And
hey man,
it would be weird to see him take a L.
I'm a Cody fan, man. I got a chance to talk to Cody this weekend in the TV locker room because that's what the boys dress, the old schoolers. And Cody came in and his dad, Dusty, he didn't call me Booker T. He always just called me T Book. And Cody calls me T Book as well. And we were talking about something, and he said one thing, man, that made me think about him and I when we worked together. He goes, you got to know when you're driving. You got to know when you got the keys. and the thing is, that's what I was telling him. You got to know when you're driving. You better know when you got the keys. When we were working each other. And now to hear him have all of that, still stuck in his head, it made me feel pretty good, man. Let me know that I did my work. I got my work done when I was working with Cody because he is a different worker. He's matured. He's more polished. He's more seasoned. He's not going out there just running around doing something just because he can do it. Now he's trying to motivate the fans to, there again, I think, feel a certain way about Cody Rhodes and what he's trying to achieve, especially with the legacy of Dusty Rhodes looming there as well. So I think he's doing a hell of a job creating.
Oh, yeah. He feels like a big deal. And like I said, he's such a student of the game. I watched, he and Austin did the Broken Skull sessions, the interview show on the network on Peacock. And the way that you could tell he looks at this industry with the utmost seriousness. He's a student of the game. And when I say that, he literally goes back and watches everything and tries to study everything and figures out why this is here, why this is there, what can I do? He said when he walked into or was pulling up to AT&T Stadium and he saw all the, the WWE, advertising on the building. He said, there's Steve Austin right there in the center, right? Big head, right? Big, big on the side of the arena. He said to himself, how do I get there next year? Yeah. And he said, not by politicking. How do I earn that spot? What do I have to do that? And to me, someone who's thinking like that is thinking in terms of what's right for the business, right? How can I generate such a craze that they got to feature me in the main,
Well, we definitely we got a lot to talk about, Cody, man, because leaving AEW, you got to wonder how this thing was going to play out, and I think right now it's playing out very, very well. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I think we definitely, man, are coming out this weekend. We got to get into that UFC 274 that went down this weekend. A lot of my picks, man, came through as far as big wins. One of them didn't pan out. The Carla Esparza versus Rose Namajunas fight. That fight right there was definitely a sleeper. It was a sleeper. It was one of those fights where you was just wondering when was it gonna break out? When was the fight gonna start? First round, second round, third, fourth, fifth round came. Nothing pretty much happened throughout the whole fight. 2 takedowns by Carla Esparza that they call takedowns. Me personally, I don't even really consider them takedowns because Rose was up just as fast as she went down. But a takedown is the takedown, and they literally judged the fight on those 2 takedowns, and winner and new champion Carla Esparza. How'd you feel about that fight, man?
Well, the fight was awful. It sucked. I look, I remember being so hyped for Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou, right? And we remember that fight. And this one kind of reminded me of that. It was such a defensive fight, is kind of the polite way to put it. Is no woman wanted to make the first move, really. And I don't know. It was very uncharacteristic to me of Rose Namajunas.
I wouldn't say both women didn't want to make the first move. Carla Esparza was making the first move, many, many times throughout that fight. What it looked like to me was Rose Namajunas looked scared as hell. She looked like she was scared the same thing was going to happen if she was to create any contact. The same thing would happen that happened in the first fight. She would have lost. And then she went out there and didn't do anything, and she still lost. So she definitely backed herself into a corner being the champion, going out there and fighting the way she did. So the thing is, I can't even be mad with the title switches. I wouldn't have been mad. Thing is, no, I wouldn't have been mad if it didn't change, but I can't be mad if it did as well, because I really think Rose Namajunas had a responsibility to go out there and at least try to compete, at least try to create contact. And she didn't do that. Only thing she did the whole fight was feint, posture, the whole fight. She didn't even. I mean, she didn't even try a takedown until late in the fight when she knew it was all over with, and she thought she won the fight with that one stinking takedown. So I can't be mad.
Well, look, I agree with you that one takedown shouldn't win you a fight, but also 2 takedowns in 5 rounds shouldn't make you the new UFC champion. And call it old school, and maybe it's not fair. Maybe it's not the way you should look at fights. You should look at them for the black and white of what happened. But to me, to be the champion of the world, to take that title from somebody else, you had to do one of 3 things, right? Knock them out, tap them out, or definitively, without a shadow of a doubt, defeat them. None of those things happened. Carla Esparza did none of those things.
It's hard to do that when the person you're trying to fight don't want to fight. And that person is the champion.
Well, she don't want to fight. Be more aggressive.
I mean, I don't think you. What do you do? Put yourself in a position to get knocked out. We know exactly how good Rose is. So why just run in and get kicked in the head? Is that what you're saying? My thing
I'm
is
not saying get kicked in the head, but I'm saying that if you're seeing that she's afraid of you, engage.
Every time Carla Esparza engaged, Rose Namajunas was running. Every time she tried to engage, she was running. You can go back and look at the fight. That's why I say I give 0 points to Rose Namajunas in the fight. 0.
I don't even know how you score the fight, to be honest with you.
But I do. I mean, but I did see Carla Esparza trying to take down, Rose Namajunas several times. And every time she tried, she was running, or she got a partial takedown, or she got a takedown. I give 0 points to Rose throughout the whole fight. I give Carla at least 2 points. So the winner goes to Carla Esparza. I feel like Rose Namajunas beat herself in that fight.
Now that I'd agree with more than Carla Esparza beating her. I agree with Rose beating herself. I can get behind that. And I'm not saying she had a great effort by any stretch of the imagination or put up a championship deserving performance. I just don't like that the title changes hands like that. Like on a fight like that, we're going to change the title. That's how we're going to do it,
Can you imagine every fight from here on out, Rose Namajunas is going out and fighting that way?
No, I can't. I couldn't imagine that.
And being the champion.
So you're saying they took the title away from her because she wasn't fighting well?
I think so.
I'm saying they being the judges made the decision for her?
Like I said, she did not do anything in this fight. She literally was just trying to hold on to the title. Only thing she was doing was literally trying to hold on to the title. If she could have got disqualified in wrestling, it was like one of those type of deals. You know what I mean? I'm serious. It was one of those type of deals. And I feel like the judges punished her. And I've seen that in boxing. The boxer think he has to fight in the bag, and he still got the 11th and the 12th round, to fight, but he want to run just because he feel like he got the fight in the bag. And then when the judge's decision is rendered, he loses just because they felt a certain way. And I've seen that happen several times. I've seen it happen with Oscar De La Hoya and Tito Trinidad. And one of the best fights I ever seen Oscar go out and perform. He beat this kid to a pulp. But those last 2 rounds, Tito ran him down. And when the judges rendered their decision, Oscar De La Hoya had a loss on his record. So I've seen this happen so many times in the combat world. And I really think that they punished Rose Namajunas for not going out there and defending her championship like a champion.
I just look, Tim. Okay, let me ask you though. Maybe technically speaking, but do you see Carla Esparza from after the court on Saturday? Do you see her as the champion? I know she's got the belt, but is she really the champion of the division? Like, do you see her as the baddest woman in that division?
Well, she's beat Rose Namajunas before.
Okay.
So what makes her not, capable of defending the championship?
I didn't ask you if she beat her before. I'm asking you, do you, Booker T, the guy who sees it all, knows it all in the MMA world, do you see her as the baddest woman in the division?
I don't see it all and know it all, but I feel like she can go out there and defend the championship just as well as Rose Namajunas did, especially on the outcome of this last fight. because Rose Namajunas was the champion. She was coming off of 2 great fights. And then to go out and have a performance like this, it showed me that she was afraid of Carla Esparza. Carla Esparza obviously had something different than all of those other women had. So I think that she's capable of going out there and defending a championship. I don't think you have to be the baddest person. I don't think who's the light heavyweight champion right now?
Well, Charles Oliveira.
Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira, right? Right?
He's a light heavy?
Light heavyweight.
Oh, light heavy, yes. Yeah, lightweight is
Oliveira. Light heavy. No, light heavyweight.
Yeah, light heavy.
Glover Teixeira, right? Right?
Yeah.
Do you think he's the baddest person in the division?
Well, no.
Exactly my point. So you don't have to be the baddest person in the division. No, what I'm saying is you don't have to be the baddest person in the division to be the champion. That's my point.
Well, look, I'm just saying, to me, that's not the way you become the champion. It's kind of like Aljo, right? Aljo, the way he won it, the way he won the title, right? It's like no one really looked at him at first as the champion. Okay, now he went out there, he defended it. Okay, cool. Like you earned that spot to me now, right? Like I can see you as the champ. I guess that's where I'm saying with Esparza. I think that they're doing Jacek and Wei Lee for number one contender next.
You know what? I think the only way Carla Esparza is going to be able to prove it is her next fight. When she go out there and fight somebody that want to fight.
I agree. Now that we can agree on. And I think her next opponent, I think Dana said Wei Lee and was it Jacek?
I can guarantee you this. I can guarantee you this. When this fight do happen, Carla Esparza ain't going to be running. I bet you it ain't going to be like this. I bet you Carla Esparza is not going to be afraid to go out there and lose the championship. I bet you that.
She's going to lose the championship.
I don't know if she's gonna,
I don't even know who she's fighting.
I don't know if she's going to lose it or not. You know, that's just the way the fight game go. I mean, I bet Rose Namajunas was going to go out there and wipe the floor with her.
I did too. I thought that too.
Rose went out there and literally crapped the bed for 5 rounds. Literally, she didn't do anything. She didn't do nothing. She didn't do not one thing the whole fight, but feint and pose and posture for 5 rounds. That to me should have disqualified her from being the championship alone, being the champion alone.
There you go. There you go. All right.
So how about that? We got to take a break, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
In here for critique. Absolutely. And Kirby, carry on. What do we know about Janai Kai? As we get the match started, I apologize, Rachel, but here we go. Janai Kai, Promise Brecht, the kick demon as she is known. Look at this, backing up Promise in order to defeat Janai Kai.
I mean, everyone's upping their game coming up to the Sherry Martel Classic, clearly trying to impress Booker, trying to qualify for that Classic. I clearly don't have to. I'm the champion. I'm automatically in that.
Oh, look at this, though, Janai Kai. This could be all. This could be all covered. 1, 2, and the chosen one kicks out. Braxton able to get her shoulder up. She's able to get her shoulder to block that kick. And I think she's looking for a broken promise, Kirby. Has her up.
This might be all.
And broken promise to Janai Kai. Can she capitalize? Cover. 1, 2, 3. The Rebel Buddhist victorious on her march to the Sherry Martel Classic.
Nice to see you, Janai.
Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just talking a little UFC 274 came off this weekend. And what a show, man. What a show. Some good parts, some bad parts. On the one fight that I was talking about that I really just thought was going to be a sleeper, and it was the Shogun Rua versus Ovid St. Preux. That's another fight that was just 2 guys out there that was yeah, I wouldn't. Let's not just say coming to get a paycheck or anything like that, because those guys are warriors. But you could tell Shogun Rua as well as Ovince St. Preux. Those guys are nowhere near the fighters they once was before. And it was one of those fights that you don't know who really won the fight, but you know somebody lost.
To me, I always describe stuff like this like a slow bicycle race, right? Like that's kind of what it reminded me of. Like, I don't know how you score this thing. I don't know how you win it, but that's what it looks like.
Well, the last round, it looked like Ovince was putting the hammer down a little bit. It looked like he was putting a little bit more pressure on.
A little.
Shogun. It looked like Shogun was gassed out. It looked like he was just done.
To the gills, brother. He was out of
here. Let me get the hell out of here. What was I thinking? One of those type of deals. But no, man. Both of those guys.
There were parts of that fight where Glover kept looking. I'm sorry, not Glover. Shogun kept looking over at his corner, and I wondered at first, was he looking for advice, or was he just looking for where the clock was? He's like, how much more time do I got in this round here? I can go 2 more minutes doing this.
Yeah, it was in slow motion. The whole fight was in slow motion, man. I'll watch those guys, but Ovince St. Preux got the win.
As you predicted.
Yeah, as I predicted, that's the second win that he's gotten over Shogun as well. First one was much more spectacular, much more, exciting than this last fight was. But Ovince got it done. He moves on. I don't know what's left of Ovince's career in the UFC. I don't even know why Ovince St. Preux is still in the UFC, to be honest.
You need a guy on the roster. I'm assuming because what was his peak? Was his peak the John Jones fight? I mean, even though I think
that would be his greatest highlight.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he never got anything bigger than that.
Because he actually competed with John Jones.
Yeah. It went the distance, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it went all the way. But I don't. To answer your question, I don't really know. I mean, and then Shogun wants one more fight, and it sounded like in the post fight, Dana White is inclined to give him one more fight. I think that's just off GP. Just like, hey, you put in the time, something you want on the way out, like I'm gonna give it to you, which is nice. I mean, that's fine. I mean, as long as he doesn't get too hurt in his final fight. But if it's a fight like this one, there's no way he could.
Well, one thing about UFC, man, they normally put the guy that's going out with some young guy that's coming up. That may not be good for Shogun. So he might want to take an exit stage left right now after this fight. I mean, I would, especially after that performance, man. It looked like his body has nothing left to give.
Yeah.
And Shogun was a great warrior. He was a great fighter. And to see him a shell of his former self, I don't know. That's the fighter, though. That's the fighter. Yeah. But I tell you what, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in Shogun, the thing about him is like some of his best fights. I mean, think about this guy. His record's 27. I was just looking up. His record's 27-13-1, right? 27-13-1. This guy's had over 40 fights. He's given it all to the business. And to me, some of his best fights weren't even in the UFC. Like, that's how far this guy's career goes back to Pride, right? Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where Shogun became a legend, was in Pride before he even came to the UFC. So if this were his last one, salute to you on the great body of work. Yeah. And if he wants one more, like, I'm kind of inclined to give it to him. But, we'll see what happens.
And think about before we let it go, the wars that he's been in. He's been in some wars, bro.
Bloodbath.
I'm talking about exactly my point. Yeah. So, big ups to Shogun Rua, man. Always been an octagon warrior, man. So, big ups to him. But I tell you what, the fight that brought fireworks, Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson.
The super chat says it all right here from DJ 1491. I don't watch much UFC, but that kick on Saturday, Lord have mercy, had that man looking elderly.
I'm gonna tell you, bro. I tell you what, Tony Ferguson did great that first round. Mm-hmm. He had Michael Chandler in dire straits at certain points. It looked like Tony Ferguson was the Tony Ferguson of old for about 5 minutes. And I was like, wow, man, Tony looked great. I mean, that short left hook was like right on the money. In that first round, at the end of the first round, Michael Chandler looked confused. and wondering what the hell is going on and how am I going to be able to combat this, because this is different. And that kick, Michael Chandler said it himself. I just threw it. We didn't practice that or anything like that. He just threw the kick. And if you notice in that first round, man, Michael Chandler was getting lit up so much, he just started throwing haymakers. He just
he's just throwing them.
Doing anything that he possibly could with power. And nothing was connecting at all. And he came out that second round with that same mentality. I'm just going to throw this kick as hard as I can, and hopefully it land. And boom, it landed right on the button. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's no way Michael Chandler winning that fight, even remotely thinking of that he was going to land a front kick like that and knock a man out. It's no way. It's no way.
You know how I know he didn't know that or think that? I know it for a fact. Do you know how I know that? If you knock him, if you think that you're going to knock a man out like that and you have it predicted in your mind, you are not doing 4 backflips in jubilation after you do it. You know what I mean? Michael Chandler kicked him and he did 4 backflips in a row, right? Yeah. From the excitement. That was a shock for even him.
Yeah. You could tell after he did it, he was shocked. Immediately after he kicked him and he went, because he actually moved to go in and he realized the fight's over. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow. And even in the post fight, he said, I didn't, plan it or anything. I just threw it. It wasn't, like I expected to land it. But for him to actually get the win that way and shut the lights out on Tony Ferguson like that was unbelievable, man. That's why I love fighting. That's what get my juices flowing. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. And you got to wonder if Tony Ferguson is going to be able to come back from something like this. I always say when you get knocked out, you're never the same fighter. But one thing I can only imagine, I've never been knocked out before. And most fighters that do get knocked out, they do come back. They do fight again. But I wonder if it's this. I was thinking about this earlier. I wonder if it's having the sensation of being knocked out and waking up and realizing that wasn't so bad. You know what I mean? And so I could get back in the ring. And
that's actually a really interesting point.
I wonder.
The thing you worry about the most in a fight is getting knocked out, right?
I think so.
Happens, it's not so bad.
That wasn't so bad. You know what I mean? So I wonder if that's the analogy of fighters that do get knocked out and come back and continue to fight and get knocked out again, continuously knocked out. Because that's normally what happened. They say the glass jar effect, after the first one. I just wonder, where does Tony Ferguson go from here?
I don't know. I mean, Dana White actually seemed to be more pleased with Tony Ferguson's performance. Because I will say, and you alluded to it a minute ago, this first round was the best Tony Ferguson we had seen pre the Gaethje fight during the pandemic in Jacksonville, right? Before that, Ferguson was still a bad man. He was on a win streak. Nobody could stop him. Then he ran into those fists repeatedly of Justin Gaethje, and he was really never the same guy. I think he's lost every fight since then. And but that first round gave you a glimmer of like, I don't know. Maybe El Kukui is still there. You know what I mean? Maybe he could still do it. Yeah. If he didn't walk into that beautiful front kick from Michael Chandler, who knows how that fight would have ended? Because I was getting worried for Chandler. I was starting to think, man, maybe Chandler's career is not really what we thought it was going to be in the UFC.
Same here, yeah.
I was like, this might be a bad run. Because Chandler said, I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time in the UFC. And I thought his time was about over. But what do you think of Chandler's challenge? He's like, I want the champion, but if you don't give me the champion, Conor McGregor, where are you at?
I mean, I would love to see him and Conor.
Great fight.
I mean, just because of, both guys, got that dog mentality. Both guys.
I think that's an even fight.
And both guys are showing
a little advantage.
I think about the press conference, how that thing's going to play out. So I'm thinking about all that kind of stuff, so I think that would definitely be the marquee challenge for Conor McGregor to make his comeback. And it will be a tough fight for Conor McGregor to come back. His first fight after, that last, fight, broken, fibula, coming back against Chandler. Oh my goodness. That would be a fight of all fights. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. You're worth it.
For 13 years, the King of Solar Screens has been an industry leader, and we proudly use 100% American-made products. Home of the $55 any size, any color solar screen.
Well, what about arches?
$55.
What about circles?
$55.
What about rectangles?
$55.
Any size, any color, installed free. The King of Solar Screens, on time, every time.
Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Talking about UFC 274. Chandler Ferguson. Where does Ferguson go from here? I think Ferguson's going to come back. I think he's going to have another fight. I think this knockout is not going to be something that's going to deter him from stepping back inside the octagon and continuously to fight, because that's what those guys do, man. That's what the UFC fighters do, man. I don't think something like this is going to shake him one bit. And there again, the knockout effect might be real.
Yeah, the knockout effect could be real with Ferguson. I mean, because it's not like he was, knocked on the chin and kind of fell down and got up and had his wits about him. Michael Chandler knocked him out so viciously, Tony didn't move for like a minute, maybe a minute and a half, right? I'd like to actually figure out when, from the moment the kick happened to where he stood up on the stool, how much time had passed, because I noticed normally with a highlight reel knockout like that, they're going to it immediately. Let's show you what happened. Let's show you what happened. They weren't going to show that until they knew Tony was okay. And it took them a long time to make sure Tony was okay. And he was on the ground. It was scary. It was scary there for a moment. I was a little worried about him. So after a vicious knockout like that, where you don't even know where you are for a little while.
Let me tell you something. Let me explain
Tony
that to you.
Fought, what, 3 months ago?
Yeah. Look here. I don't know if you've had surgery or not, right? You haven't?
Mm-mm.
But every time I've gone in for surgery, Charmel's right there by me, and they go, all right, I'm going to give you the shot to knock you out. It might take a few minutes, and it might take us, a couple of minutes, whatever, I'm like, cool, yeah, just go ahead and give it to me. I'm all right, and they give it to me. I'm sitting there talking to Charmel, and and next thing you know, I'm waking up from surgery. Like, wow, what happened? And I feel like so good. It's like the best wake up, best sleep I've ever had. Seriously. That's the stuff Michael Jackson was on, that propofol. When they put you on that stuff, you go right out, bro. And you go out real nice. So I can imagine Tony Ferguson getting hit. Boom. Going to sleep, and then when his eyes wake up, when his eyes awake, he sees everybody. It can't feel that bad. He can't be no, I'm serious. He can't be in a whole lot of pain. He's just wondering what happened. You got knocked out. I did. Okay, get back up on your feet. I don't know if you noticed. Tony Ferguson actually stood next to the referee for the calling of the fight. You remember that?
Yeah.
And one other fight, Bing. He looks over like he didn't know where he was. Still didn't know where he was. Like, what the hell is going on here? It was like a moment there for him. You go back and watch that right there. Michael Chandler's raising his hand, and Tony Ferguson's looking at him there, and he looked like he wanted to clap, but he didn't know if he should. It was a moment.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, that right there was striking to me. He'll be back. He'll be back to continue to fight. And I think if put in the right position, Tony Ferguson perhaps could rebuild himself. But the question is, will he be able to do it fighting, the number 2, 3, 4, and 5 guy in the division? No. That's why I feel like the pecking order should be changed around just a little bit. A guy like Tony Ferguson trying to get back on the horse, don't just throw him to the wolves. Let this guy at least try to find his wits about himself, try to build his confidence back if you plan on doing anything with him other than just throwing him to the wolves and sink or swim. Tony Ferguson, hopefully he'll have a good career. But hey, that's the way it is in the UFC.
Well, it was a quick knockout, and then we had the Rose fight, and then the main event. Title on the line. Well, title not on the line.
Title on the line. Only but for Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, for Justin Gaethje. And didn't really do Justin Gaethje much of a favor because he went out pretty quickly, which has actually kind of become a trend with Justin Gaethje. He either gets into a trench war with you or he's out the door quickly, right? We saw it happen with Khabib last year, or whenever that was, maybe the year before. So what did you make of this fight? And Charles Oliveira now is technically the number 1 contender for the lightweight championship because the title is vacant because he didn't make weight.
Taking a step back for a second, I called that Michael Chandler fight as well. And this one right here, the Oliveira fight, I called this one as well. Mm-hmm. Justin Gaethje, he's a good fighter. But he's one of those guys that's going to go out there and, go out on his shield. He's a fighter, and he's one of those guys that's got a wrestling background, but he never relies on that. He seemed like his wrestling ability, he's totally abandoned because having Charles Oliveira in, predicament on multi occasions and not at least trying to take advantage of it one time, it made me wonder about him. I was like, what the hell is he thinking? He doesn't even, of course, Charles Oliveira is a, ground technician. We know how good he is on the ground. But if you hit a man and knock him down, you don't know how hurt he is. You don't know if he can defend himself or not. You don't know if he's loopy or not. Even if Charles Oliveira is in a position, say looking like he's defending himself, looking for you to jump into his guard. Maybe that's just posturing. You never know. And he had Charles Oliveira like that on multiple occasions and did not even try to engage. That told me a whole lot about him. One thing it did was gave Charles Oliveira chance after chance after chance to actually land something. And finally, damn it, that's what happened. So I don't know what Charles Oliveira is going to go from here. I know he's set up to be the number 1 contender for the championship. Justin Gaethje, where does he go from here? Probably back to the end of the line and try to rebuild himself all over again because he's exciting. He's one of those fighters. He's an exciting fighter, but he's one of those guys that's going to be swimming uphill in the UFC until the end because that's what he's going to be looked at as one of those guys that, I could throw him on the card and I can get a car crash out of it, but I don't think this guy's ever going to make his way to becoming champion.
Yeah, and I think he was the interim champion, but whatever. I think that the 2 fights you make, if I were the UFC for the lightweight, hey, highlight reel knockout. Let's run Chandler and Oliveira back. Let's give us that fight right for the title, and then let's do another rematch. Let's do Justin Tony. Do it again. You know what I mean? I think that those are compelling matchups. I
mean they are compelling matchups, but I don't know. I don't want to see Tony in another war right now. I just don't. One more war for Tony is a wrap.
Yeah.
It should have been a wrap, perhaps. one more for Tony is a wrap. I really think Tony is in a rebuilding stage where he needs to try to get his feet under him. And if the UFC has any passion for those fighters, especially a guy like Tony Ferguson, they try to, figure out how we can get this guy, like I say, get his confidence back, because right now you can only imagine where Tony Ferguson head is as far as wondering, man, am I done or what? I mean, what is going on after being one of the most feared fighters in that division no more than a couple of years ago? So
the guy who's going to take down Habib, right? I mean, that's what everyone said.
That was the word on the street. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Like I say, I would let this guy rebuild. 274 was definitely it was somewhat okay pay-per-view. I'm not gonna crap on it or anything like that. The prelims were actually really, really good as well. I actually stayed up all night because I had to go to WrestleMania Backlash the following morning, and I was like, man, they ain't gonna get no sleep. I know I'm not gonna be able to fall asleep, so we'll just watch the pay-per-view and stay up late. That's one of the few times I think I've stayed up all the way to like the end of the fight without even like trying to go to sleep. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I got me a couple of winks and got on up and headed out. WWE WrestleMania Backlash in Providence, Rhode Island. Sold Out House, man. Sold Out House. In the kickoff show, everybody was talking about that suit I had on, man. Everybody was talking about, man, the suit, man, is bad. Yeah, it was. It was custom made from head to toe, baby. We had a good time, man. We had a good time. Me and Peter Rosenberg and JBL and Caleb Braxton, Kevin, what's his last name?
Patrick.
Yeah, that's right. That son of a gun. I just mess with you. I call him KP. Yeah, man, we had a great time. But guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
For a couple of years, and for me, I could not take that experience back for anything. I mean, learning how to wrestle in front of 6 people and trying to draw emotion out of people who maybe just by happenstance came across the show, but to work with conditions where the ropes some are too tight, some are too loose, some of the rings had big dips in it, trying not to trip over the canvas, and just having that experience of working in all these different, every ring was different at every indie show that I did, and so to know that I have to put on a good show regardless of the circumstances, even if the ring doesn't show up and I have to wrestle on a gymnasium floor, hoping for the best, it really helped shape my ability to be able to think on the fly and made me who I am today.
What's up, this Booker T, 2-time Hall of Famer. I know you're checking out the shine, checking out the gloss. I want to thank you guys for checking out Row on YouTube. Hey, don't forget to click and subscribe to check out all the latest content right here each and every week. Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Hey, welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. They call him the BOAT. And guys, I'm coming off of a hell of a weekend. WWE WrestleMania Backlash went down this weekend, and I must say, Providence, Rhode Island, they got the ticket, man, because the show, I'm gonna tell you, it's like this movie I watch all the time, and it's called The 5 Heartbeats. If you ever get a chance, check out that movie. It's just one scene in there where this guy roll up. His name's Big Red Davis, and he tell the 5 Heartbeats. He say, "Fellas, your show was right on the money." That's what it was in Providence, Rhode Island. The show was right on the money. So I just had to throw that in there, man. It's a hell of a line right there. Big Red Davis. Make sure you check out your 5 Heartbeats if you ever get a chance. You ever see that movie, man?
I've never seen the 5 Heartbeats. I need to go check it out. I feel like I'm slacking.
It's a really good movie, man. It's a really
what was weird about Backlash too, WrestleMania Backlash, was it wasn't like, I don't know, there wasn't like a lot of talk leading up to it. Like when I say talk, I mean like amongst the fan community. It's not like people are like, oh man, Backlash this weekend, man, Backlash this weekend, right? And sometimes with those shows for WWE, the ones that aren't talked about the most, like have the most hype behind them, are the ones that always go through the roof. Like last night was some of the best overall bell-to-bell wrestling on a WWE show in recent memory. Now, of course, WrestleMania killed it, but I just mean not something the grandeur of WrestleMania, kind of your smaller shows, the Backlashes, the Hell in a Cells, the Money in the Banks. This one was so great. Like from top to bottom, I was entertained the whole time. Do you think it's because if you don't have like massive expectations for a show, it's easier to go out there and kill it? Like, I don't know how you explain that. It's like the same thing of when a basketball player will go for 12 the night before and then the next night goes for 45. It's like, how do you explain the magic of that? What's the science behind it? Because last night, really, everyone was working at a high level.
Hey, let me tell you exactly what it is, man.
Tell me.
We were just talking, man, when competition make you run faster. Right?
Yeah.
And same thing happened back in back when I was doing it, man. The wars, the WCW, WWF, Monday Night Wars. We started winning the war, at one point in time. And then, man, those guys kicked it in gear and they started going out there and performing at a level of excellence every week. And I can say that because I was on the other side and I was watching it and I was like, man, I wish I was over there. Man, I wish I was doing that. I'm serious. I swear to God, I was saying that. I might have been, stupid for thinking that way. But I was like, man, these guys are doing it and doing it big. And I see the same thing now. People talking about, one company, AEW, and people talking about WWE, and people want to hate and spew their gutter thoughts about AEW as well as WWE. And I just think on that side, those guys are going to try to pick it up, and on WWE side, those guys are going to try to pick it up as well. They're going to try to take it to another level, and I think that's what really, really good about the competition. People can say what they want to say about WWE, but right now the talent is going out there and producing at a very high level, and what I look at it as being is competition. Makes you run faster, and I think that's what it is more than anything, as well as people talk about the writing. It's been some good writing going on lately. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's been some good booking as well. It's been some good match coordinating as well. So obviously somebody have gotten a war room and said, hey guys, this is what we got to think about going forward in these things and these things only. So I'm loving the direction right now.
Well, we have a field of super chats that have come in regarding WrestleMania Backlash. Let's take this one right now from Aaron C. Aaron C. said, would the Demon Balor make sense to join Edge's faction Judgment Day? Also, I heard Bray Wyatt may never get in a ring again. Let's start with the first part of that question, because last night you had AJ Styles versus Edge for the rematch from WrestleMania. And at the conclusion of the match, Rhea Ripley makes her not re-debut, but makes her presence known by joining the Judgment Day faction. She now has her hair dyed black, and she's aligned with Edge and them. Do you think that Finn Balor, the Demon, would make sense to be along with that book? And what did you think of the Rip, the person you've coined as kind of like the next big thing? What do you think of the Rip joining Judgment Day?
Ripley definitely has that brood look. Okay, she falls right in. as far as being a part of that group. One thing also, Rhea Ripley has been trying to find her footing, right? She's good. She can go out in the ring and perform at a high level. But it seemed like it's crowded as far as women getting, opportunities at certain times right now. It's a crowded field right now. And for me, when the field was always crowded, I didn't mind doing something different outside of the box because I knew it was going to be some spotlight on me playing this role over here, opposed to trying to play in that crowded field. So for me, I like the move for Rhea Ripley. It's definitely going to highlight her. It's going to put her in a position to where she's going to have an active role on a weekly basis doing something. Adding Finn Balor to that group right there, the Demon. That's definitely a dynamic, unlike most. If I would have a character like the Demon, as a part of that group, I couldn't see the Demon on a regular basis just because he is such an enigma. He is so different than anything that I've ever seen, in professional wrestling. So I just don't know how that will work out.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on that one either. Like, I mean, Finn though joining, it does make sense in some regard because he has been on one of those pretty pronounced losing streaks, right? Like we haven't seen Finn get a win in a long time, and a lot of the times when I see stuff like that, I ask the question, well, why? Like, why isn't Finn getting these looks? Obviously, he's talented. Obviously, this is somebody you want in a main event scene. And normally it's because they're saving him for something. They're building to something, right? And if it's building to him joining Judgment Day, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that. I don't see him doing really anything of great significance right now on the show. Not to say that he couldn't, but at the moment he's not. I mean, you could throw him in Judgment Day so long as there's a plan. That's the one thing is, now that we have a faction, you're going to get a lot of those questions of, well, should this person join the faction? Should this person join the faction? What if we throw Bray Wyatt? What if he comes back and he's in the faction? It's like, okay, let's make sure there's a point to it. Like,
yeah.
That's what that's what we were talking about last week. That's what the NWO did. Yeah. Hey, we got this shirt. You want to wear the shirt? Like, you could be a part of the group if you wear the shirt and have the music and be like everybody else. Yeah. Or do you want to stand out and have a purpose within the group? So I mean,
yeah. Like I say, adding Rhea Ripley, I see that just because, Rhea is definitely different, and to have her, as a part of that group right there, that, a female, is definitely something I think adds a little flavor, to a group like that. So, but that just start adding guys, I wouldn't do that. Say that.
And that's not really something we've seen a lot. We don't really see a faction that has like a top female superstar in it. Yeah. You might have like the woman who's the valet of the group or something like that, but you rarely have someone she could be the world champion, the women's world champion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it is interesting. It is an interesting addition. Real quick before we go to break, what do you think about what Aaron said? Maybe Bray Wyatt never come back to the ring. I haven't heard that, but he's mentioning it. So what do you think?
Yeah, I heard that. But I also heard, actually, I was reading Pat McAfee actually mentioned Bray Wyatt on the show last night. I don't know if that's a precursor. I don't know if that's a signal, a spoiler or a teaser. I don't know what that was. But normally there's a method to all the madness. So, yeah. Is it time for us to take a break, man? We got to take a break.
We have about 20 seconds, but the one thing I will say to this is you saying there's method of the madness. It's like, well, Cody, when Cody started coming in, we started hearing them say, oh, there's only smoke and mirrors, which was like his theme song name, or isn't that guy so dashing, or I think his dreams were dashed. It's like American Dream, dashing Cody Rhodes. Like there was little Easter eggs. So maybe you're right about Bray Wyatt. It's possible.
Hey, man, like I say, Pat McAfee mentioned Bray Wyatt on the show last night. So hell, we don't know what's about to happen, man. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I would not be surprised one bit if Bray Wyatt was to show up in the WWE. Hey guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
My name is Dan Miller, and I'm trained to be a professional wrestler here at Reality of Wrestling. Professional wrestling has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Growing up, I would have the toys, I would have matches with stuffed animals, I had a little paper championship. I always had that voice in the back of my head saying, can you do this? Can you really be a pro wrestler? And one day that voice got so loud, I just had to know. So I did my research, and I found that Reality of Wrestling is the best training ground in the whole country. You could sit down and turn on the TV every night of the week to watch pro wrestling, and you'll see someone who got their start in this ring. Reality of Wrestling teaches you everything you need to know about the business, from putting together the ring to putting together a TV show. This is a place where you can come and work on your fundamentals, work on your body, work on your interview skills. This is a one-stop shop for everything pro wrestling. If you have that voice in the back of your head, now is the time to find out if you have what it takes here at Reality of Wrestling.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Now is the time. Hey, guys, go to realityofwrestling.com. We got fantasy camp coming up here real soon. You got any weekend warriors out there who wonder what is it like to step inside that square circle just one time? Well, we can make sure that happen for you guys. Fantasy camp. It's a 5-hour tour. Starts at noon to 5, and we run you guys through the ringer. I'm talking about learning holds. I'm talking about doing promos. I'm talking about taking a big body slam. You want to take a suplex? We can do that for you too, guys. But go to realityofwrestling.com and check out all the information on Fantasy Camp with Booker T coming up very, very soon, guys.
Yeah, I think it's on the 20th of this, 21st of this month, I believe, is the next Fantasy Camp.
I'm working too much, man. I'm working too much. But make sure you guys come check me out. Definitely.
We have another super chat in here from our man Cali Toenail. What's up, fellas? BT, you had me dead Sunday. You said Charlotte was going to be Mae Young. That's a lot of wrestling. Speaking of Charlotte, her and Ronda, to me, by far had the best match of the night, as I expected. Yeah, man, that I Quit match, it was definitely way better than their WrestleMania match. And I don't know how you explain that. Maybe it was the stipulation. Maybe they were more confident and comfortable with each other. They went out there and they crushed it. Ronda Rousey, the new SmackDown Women's Champion. Yeah. Real great match book. And those I Quit matches to me sometimes can be a real hard thing to work around because you always have to have the referee come in and ask him, do you quit? Do you give up? And putting the microphone in your face. And I don't love it from a production standpoint, but I thought that this match was excellent.
Well, I can tell you this. You could tell Ronda been studying. You could tell she's been working on her craft. And I said it also, having someone like Charlotte, in the ring with you, man, that don't hurt at all. Knowing what it means to have a ring general in the ring and knowing how to, work around that ring general is very, very important. That's one thing that I think Ronda Rousey has done very well since day one, because you got to understand, ever since Ronda came in, almost 10 times out of 10 times, she's been following. And you got to, in this business, you got to know how to follow very, very well if you plan on making it to the next level, if you plan on anybody trusting you to help you make it to that next level. And Ronda definitely has done that. And it proved, like I say, what she was talking about as far as going out there and not sometimes, knowing exactly what she is in a match, but still being able to go out there and cover those mistakes. Man, that is uncanny. That is the art of a true worker. It's not knowing every aspect of what we are, but still to the crowd make it look like, man, this is something special. So I give Ronda Rousey a whole lot of credit for there again studying the game and living up to the moniker.
She definitely held it down. There's no doubt about it. She went out there and she proved that she can roll with the best of them. And sometimes, like you said, having that ring general, almost knowing, okay, if I start to go astray, if I'm going the wrong way, they're going to get me back on the right path, right?
Yeah.
I actually heard Steve Austin talking about that. Is early in his career, he was working a match with Nightmare Danny Davis, and he got to the arena, and he went up to Danny. He goes, "Hey Danny, what do you want to do tonight?" And Danny said, "Oh, don't." He said, "Hey kid, I'm gonna listen to you out there." And Austin said, "But you're Nightmare Danny Davis. Like, I'm coming to learn from you." And he said, "Just call the match. If you get lost, I'll help you out, kid." Right? And that's almost what you mean by having a ring general, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
go out there, do what you want to do. If you start getting off, I'll correct your path. We'll get back, and we'll make our destination.
Yeah.
It was like what you're talking about with Cody. When you got the keys, know who's driving, kind of thing like that.
Hey man, that's Steamboat taught me, bro. You got the keys, you better know when you're driving, because I snatch them back from you in a heartbeat. And you would never drive again, and that you don't want right there. You want to be trusted. You want the ring general to be able to trust you to go out there and take the reins and run with it. And run with it hard. What I mean, push me as far as you can push me at the same time. So yeah, man. Like I say, Ronda's done a hell of a job, man. And that match is getting high marks from just about everybody as being the #1 match as far as WrestleMania Backlash goes.
Yeah, so congratulations to Ronda and Charlotte, and the new women's champion, right? Ronda Rousey. This is from the Gab Noir that comes back kind of on the Judgment Day thing we were talking about. Do they book Rhea like China? She can kick arse. Should Rhea be in there mixing it up with, the men in the same regard that China was? Should she be a little bit more physical, or should they keep her, woman on woman style?
Nah, I think we keep Rhea woman on woman. I mean, there's never going to be another China. Okay, let's not try to compare anyone to the ninth wonder of the world, because China was different. She was special. A lot of people, even myself, I didn't know about China before she came to WWE, but she was working her butt off to try to get into, the wrestling business. And she was, on the independents, bumping and whatnot. She learned how to work, from that perspective. And then being so big and so muscular and having such a unique look, we say, man, let's work her a little bit differently than most. But I don't think there'll ever be another China to put Rhea Ripley in that position. I think it would hurt her more than it would help her in the long run.
I agree. I think you stay away from that. You make her the dominant person, right? Yeah. Make her the dominant female of the division, but she doesn't need to be going in there and giving guys suplexes or spears, or going out there and doing stuff like that. I think it was great for the match and how they used her in that way, and they want to do more stuff like that. Yeah, by all means. I just think that we're kind of past that thing. And again, China,
think about it though with China. How many men did China actually wrestle?
I mean, a nice little handful, right? I mean, she had the program with Jericho. She had the matches with Jarrett. She had the matches with Hardcore Holly. The stuff with Eddie. I mean, she wrestled quite a bit, the men. I mean, they would throw China out there like on a random Raw with one of the boys.
I guess I wasn't, in tune to it as much as most. But I don't know. Ripley, like I said, I see her being, like I said, a dominant female, working on that level. But to put her in there with the men and to try to start trying to write that, I just think you'd be backing everybody into a corner. The guys who got to work her, as well as the girls on the roster that may have to work her later on, perhaps if that experiment doesn't work out. Remember this golfer named Michelle Wee, hit the ball 300 yards. Extraordinary golfer, can beat all the women. And they said, we're going to throw her on the men's tour. And when they put her on the men's tour, she just looked totally out of place. And I think that's the same thing would happen with Rhea Ripley, just because she hadn't been built that way. China was built that way from day one.
Yeah, check this out. I just looked up her on ProFightDB.com. I was looking up China's win-loss record in WWF and all the matches she had. Random Raw, September 4th, 2000. She lost the Intercontinental Championship in a match with Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle. I mean, they were throwing her in there with some vicious workers, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Vicious. I mean, and then if you go through, I mean, the next week she's wrestling Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty 2 Hotty tagging with Eddie. The next week, her and Rikishi wrestled to a time limit draw, which I didn't even know happened in WWE before. I mean, she was out. She was wrestling the dudes every single week.
Wow.
Every week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, like I say, China was different. I don't think there'll never be another China either. I
There
mean,
will not, nor should there be.
yeah, exactly. I feel that way as well.
Real quick, before we have to go to break here in a second, Kid wanted to know, would you ever consider going into MMA or boxing?
You know, at one point I considered boxing. Actually, I trained to box before I became a professional wrestler. And Muhammad Ali was my idol, of course. Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, guys like that. And I really thought I could do it. And the call to wrestling came first before I ever had a fight, actually. And I'm kind of glad I didn't actually box, real fight or anything like that. And MMA is something I've always loved. It entertains me, but I just have never seen myself, you know, climbing in that octagon. It's like a cockfight when I watch those guys. I love it. Those guys, you know, hell of entertainers, octagon warriors, take nothing away from them. But man, that is built for only a few individuals that's walking on this earth. Everybody's not meant to do that. And you know what? I was one of them. I'm serious, man. Just did not look fun. We got to take a quick break, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. They always want something from you. And you're still willing to take it. But I remember when I was a boy, those long trips, those long fishing trips, some of the best times of my life. Those cool mornings and those late summer breeze. Come in. Guys.
You wanted to see us?
Yes. I did. I wanted to see you. I needed to ask a question to you, Hefe. You do great mechanic work.
Yes. Claro que sí.
Well, I need a vintage 90s model. Worked on. Perhaps some work under the hood. Transmission problems.
Claro que sí.
Yes.
It can be done.
Yes. It can be done.
It can be done.
Now, it's time to reel in the big one.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame.
It's hard to not watch that.
Man, it's hard to not. It's just stupid, man. It's crazy.
It's hard.
I don't know where that character come from. I don't even know who that guy is. I'm serious. It seems like multiple personalities. You know, I remember this movie as a kid called Sybil. I think she had like 19 different personalities or something like that.
You like a lot of those Marvel television shows, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you should check out this one called Moon Knight. Have you heard of this one?
No.
Moon Knight, I think it'd be right up your alley. But it's like this guy. I won't give away too much, but is kind of what you're talking about. He's got multiple personalities, but he's also possessed by a Egyptian god.
Yeah.
And that's the premise. That's the premise.
I was
Yeah, I think you check it out. I think you'd like it.
I was possessed by Sherry Martell.
You were. That episode's available on the Reality Wrestling YouTube channel. We have
Oh my God.
We have another super chat here as we get to our final two segments of the day. This is from P Serious. If WCW gave you and Stevie Ray a breakdancing gimmick and called you the remote controls instead of Harlem Heat, would you have been cool with it?
You know what? I've always been the type. I say, man, let's get our foot in the door, bro. Let's just get our foot in the door. That's what I was about, getting my foot in the door. But one thing that I've always refused to do since I've been in the wrestling business is dance. I've never wanted to dance. I've never, if you noticed in my career, I've never did the headbutt one time in one match throughout my whole career. I wanted to change the culture, the stigma of the black wrestler, and of course, you can go back to the way me and my brother got into it. And you go, what the hell you do that? There again, the 99%, 100% rule. Sometimes you gotta, speak up, but sometimes you gotta know when to shut up. And that was one of those times.
Yeah. The remote controls would have been an interesting gimmick. I would have liked to see somebody pull that off. But maybe not Booker T and Stevie Ray. That might not have been the one.
No dancing for me, man. That's I just never want to be that guy, just because so many black characters, they always dance when they came out. And I always wonder, why do black people dance all the time when they come? I always wondered that as a kid, why do we always gotta be an act? So for me, I want to change the whole name of the game, and Spinaroonie, that's somewhat of a dance move, but I was able to throw it in there without it being hokey or looked at it as stereotypical or anything like that.
Definitely didn't look stereotypical. I never would have made that connection, but it was cool for you to bring your breakdancing background into the character, because it wasn't like. It wasn't like they're like, oh, well, Booker, can you go out there and do like a dance move for us, or anything like that, right? I mean, you came up with the idea to put it in the match, and it made sense within the match, and it's a legit thing from your background, so it was cool. It wasn't like, hey, Booker, can you go out there and be the rapping wrestler for us? You know what I mean? Like Truth, he raps to the ring, right? But Truth actually makes music. Like Truth was at music conventions with Tupac in the 90s. Like it makes sense to his character.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Spinaroonie, it wasn't a Spinaroonie in the beginning. It was just a way to get up and to create, going into the next move.
Right.
And it morphed into Spinaroonie. It morphed into its own thing, I would say. But it wasn't. That was the thought process in the beginning. I was just trying to figure out a cool way to get up.
There you go. We have another one here coming in from Kenny Williams, who says, more likely to dethrone Roman Reigns for that undisputed title, Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre?
Man, I gotta go with Cody Rhodes. Drew McIntyre, like I said on the kickoff show, being a part of this 6-man with RK Bro, keeping himself real close to the body, making sure he stays close to the championship. It's good for Drew McIntyre. Letting everybody know, man, I'm not far from this picture. But the guy that's got the hot hand, the guy that's got the rocket on him, is Cody Rhodes. And I say, man, you run with that, man, until it cool off. And I don't think that's going to be for, quite some time, because Cody is going out. He's got to work. He's had the best partner. I should say that as well, working with Seth Rollins. But Cody Rhodes is going out there and really doing some really, really quality work right now. And not that Drew McIntyre can't go out there and do that as well, but the story right now is totally on Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I agree. I think that just everything that's been presented on television, not that I would be mad at Drew being the guy to go out there, but And not that I wouldn't mind Drew having his moment, because Drew had his moment at the Royal Rumble here in Houston in 2020, and then boom, pandemic, no events. He becomes the WWE champion at WrestleMania in front of nobody. He defends the WWE title for the entirety of his run against nobody, right? Both times he won the title. So it's not like I wouldn't like to see him get that opportunity. But I just think you got to go where the getting's good. And the getting is good with Cody Rhodes right now. He's just the talk of the town, and he's working like it. He's dressing like it. I think Drew's a hell of a talent. And by the way, I think Drew and Cody could have a great program with one another. I think that would be something I'd like to see, Cody working from underneath against a bigger, stronger opponent. But yeah, that's totally Cody. Totally Cody.
Yeah, I see that.
Totally Cody right now. We have another one from Aaron C. Why do you think such a great worker as Balor getting buried like this? To me, it makes no sense at all. We kind of talked about this a little bit ago, but what do you think?
Finn Balor is a great worker, man. He can go out there and perform at a very high level. But the one thing the business is always, I think, as far as guys getting over, is believability. They made the fans feel a certain way, not by what we watched them do in the ring, just by watching them. And I say that I'm just using this guy, for an example. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the way he talked, the way he walked, the way he made you feel about the guy that, perhaps, that's got a regular job at home, that drink a beer on a regular basis. He can relate with so many different people. Mm-hmm. So many people can say, man, that's my guy right there. Guy like, who's that, Finn Balor?
Yeah.
Goes out there, does some of the most spectacular moves that you've ever seen. But when, just say, for instance, he cut a promo, he may not make you feel like he really wants to go out there and hurt that guy. That's why guys cutting promos back in the day, those beer drinkers, the Black Barts of the world, say what you will, but when those guys would cut a promo on television, I know the world is different now, but when those guys would cut a promo on television, they were grown ass men, and you thought that what they were saying that they were going to do, you believed it. And it was somebody was just I just did an interview earlier for CW39, and they say, what is your fondest memory from Houston wrestling on Channel 39 back in the day? And I said, man, that's an easy one. Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus the One Man Gang. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, hit his head on the ring post. It was a bolt sticking out. He was bleeding profusely. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was staggering all over the ring, still throwing punches, at the same time. And I was like, wow, man. I thought wrestling, let's say this. I always knew what wrestling was, but that was the realest I ever got to thinking wrestling was real. And I think that's what it is, making you feel a certain way. And I think Finn Balor has been lacking in doing that more than anything. He can wrestle. He comes out, he got the black jacket on.
Right.
He walks straight to the ring. For me, there again, I think about my career. When I would walk out of the curtain, the fans would rush the barrier. Okay. They all were, and you could go back and look at Booker T as a babyface in WCW. Every time they play my music, soon as my music would play, the fans would rush the barrier, okay? Because everybody knew they was going to get a high five or a slap or a hug or something on the way to the ring, and I was going to be feeling good. It wasn't about me at that moment. And I connected with the fans that was paying that hard-earned dollar that wanted to see Booker T. I came through the airport today and on my way home from Boston, and as soon as I walked through, this guy, the security, he goes, Booker T, right? I go, yeah, man. He goes, man, I was a huge fan, man. I just wanted to let you know that, man. I was a huge fan. Think I can get a photo? And I was like, man, you don't want to get in trouble. And they was like, nah, man, he's cool. And But that's this many years later, that right there, making that kid feel a certain way, I think is what Ben Balor is missing more than anything.
Well, we'll see if he can put all the pieces together. I know there might be some out there in the cards for him. We'll see, but I know we got to take a break and we got to wrap up this show, Book. So let's take a break and we'll come back and talk more.
Stick around. We'll be back in a minute. You worth it.
Walker Texas Ranger handles the bad guys with a roundhouse kick. I'm Jim Walker, Walker Texas lawyer. I handle the insurance companies with a roundhouse kick to the wallet. If you've been injured in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, give me a call at 713-552-1117 or visit my website at walkertexaslawyer.com. You'll be glad you did. Why would you call anyone else?
Can you dig it, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Like I say, got a big show going down this weekend, this Saturday, actually, at the Booker T World Gym Arena. Reality of Wrestling, live TV taping, guys. If you're anywhere in the surrounding area, make sure you come check us out. It's going to be on, man. And guess who's going to be there?
Who's that?
Me. And we're going to be having some fun down there, guys. So if you can't be there, again, check us out on CW39 every Saturday night at 1 a.m. in the morning. If you can't check it out, make sure you set that DVR, guys. And you know what? You can set that DVR right now.
You could do it right this second.
Do it. Do it now. I do it for you.
How long did it take you to set your DVR?
About 1 second.
About 1 second.
Yeah.
So CW, you scroll over to our time slot, hit record all.
Damn, that's it. That's all you
record
gotta do.
series. Like, seriously, how hard is that?
And the thing is, guys, you do that, you're going to be helping us because this is a trial run for Reality of Wrestling in this time slot. But if you guys give us enough clicks, man, we're going to be moved into prime time on Saturday, guys. Just like back in the day, man. Houston Wrestling was on at 10 o'clock at night on Saturday night, and then it was on at 9 o'clock Sunday morning. And I want that same schedule, man. That's the schedule we want. 10 Saturday night, 9 Sunday morning. Let's make everybody. Nostalgia, baby, is what we're looking for. We're thinking about Paul Bosch. We're thinking about the man who made it all happen back in the day. And right now, I'm pulling up the rear. Let's just say
You're that man.
Yeah.
You're that man. Kelly Tonia wants to say, let's be honest, Book. Roman don't want it with that RKO. They won by the skin of their teeth. It was a great match from everyone. Yes, I even gave Roman some props too. Yeah, you know what's interesting is in the main event, the 6-man tag, man, those fans, where were y'all last night, Providence?
Yeah.
Those fans love Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Like, it was a different level of love. And when he hit that RKO, it was like a Road Warrior 88, 89. I mean, through the roof. People are so behind it.
Now, people want to see Randy back in that position. And I think this hiatus did him a lot of good as far as being hooked up with Riddle, being able to go out there and just entertain, put it on cruise control for a minute. That right there is it does the body wonders more than anything. And one thing they always say, absence make the heart grow fonder. Yeah. So my thing is this: Randy Orton. You could put him right back in that position and let him run if we wanted to, but I just don't think it's time just yet. I think Randy Orton and Riddle's run still has a little bit of life left in it.
Oh, I think so for sure. I definitely think so. I can't see them breaking up. That team's become so popular. And I tell you what, I never would have called it. And that's actually why I love, even though, I can sometimes see things coming from a mile away. Sometimes I can't, but it's still so great to be a fan sometimes to see things of like, man, I never thought that would get quote unquote over. look at the reactions it's getting now. Like I love when I don't know something like that's going to happen. It's great.
Yeah.
Aaron C says, Book, what the heck kind of that big chunk of ring? I guess he's asking about the ring of.
Oh, like I said, that's Paul Bosch, man. The ring of the great Paul Bosch. This was his ring, man. It's got two wrestlers in the middle of it, and then the ring is encased in diamonds, and the fans are actually diamonds chips as well. So it's actually a pretty unique ring. This ring is over almost 60 years old now, and only two people have worn it: myself and Paul Bosch.
It's an incredible amount of legacy there for Houston wrestling that you're wearing on your finger right there. So, yeah, if y'all don't know about the history of Paul Bosch, there's some great articles out there, and there's a book I think that they published about it. Some of that Houston wrestling is just classic stuff. If you have any more questions, we only have a few more minutes left inside the Hall of Fame for the day, so make sure you get them in before we leave. Book, we were talking earlier about Cody Rhodes and Theory, right? Having this match. Let's say Cody Rhodes goes out there and defeats Theory, and by the time people might be listening to this, he is the United States champion. Does that divert him on his path toward the world title, or does that help him get there faster?
Cody Rhodes, you mean, right? Yeah.
Cody. He being Cody.
Yeah. Vince hate when people say he and him.
Pronouns, pal.
Bruce
Pritchard told me that a long time ago.
Oh yeah, seriously,
He
man.
who?
Yeah, that's what I'm like. He who? Yeah, seriously.
Vince would yell at me and say, "Pronouns, pal."
He'd be yelling at you right now like crazy, man. But I don't know if it derails Cody. I think it just let people see that Cody is on a championship trajectory, and United States Championship just happened to be a drop in the bucket at this point in time. I don't know. I wonder, how they're gonna play that match. Just because, like you say, Theory is in a really, really good place right now, and him having that championship can do wonders for a young guy like Theory. And you wonder what would that championship do for someone like Cody, knowing what direction we're really trying to get him in. So I'm there again. I'm gonna have to be a fan and sit back and see how this thing play out as well.
Yeah, it screams to me like there might be some sort of angle, and also, somebody's got to interrupt the match and set up Cody's next thing. I don't know. Something has to happen. There can't be a straight up win-loss with this thing.
Like I say, Theory winning, it does wonders for him, but Cody losing, it doesn't play well with what we're trying to go. No. Cody winning, it does nothing for Cody, and it does, a whole lot less for Theory. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Imagine if Cody wins. You know what? Like the AEW, because I'm an AEW fan. I'm a WWE fan. I just want to put that out there. I think AEW is going to be here in town this week, but the AEW loyalists, if Cody wins the U.S. title, they're going to say, "See, they just see him as a mid-card talent. I told you they were going to bury him as soon as they could."
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So people are looking for that, but I said when Cody come back, it was going to be big things for Cody Rhodes. I said it, they wasn't going to rush him back or anything like that. It was one of those things when Cody came back, it was a big deal, and they built it up to be a big deal. Cody went out and delivered as well, and then just Sunday night, Cody went out and delivered again. So I see Cody being matched up to go out there and have some really, really great matches to really showcase, what the Rhodes family has always been about. And, Cody's not shy about it. Cody has said he's not, sports entertainer. He's a wrestler. He's actually said that since he's been back.
Mm-hmm.
And to want to be one of the best, if not the best in the world, I think that's what Cody is really trying to achieve, because I think Cody has something to prove. Not to the fans or anything like that. I don't even think, for his dad. I think I think Cody has something to prove to himself that he is worthy of being that top talent, that top guy in the WWE, a place that he was born pretty much. So I think that's what this thing is all about.
I agree. And, Cody said in an interview one time that Dusty, his father, said, son, baby, you can't wear a Rolex until you're the world champion, right? And I've noticed that Cody's been sporting a Rolex lately. So obviously he's got something on his mind, and it's not the United States Championship. Right?
Hey, man, that's what I feel too. That's what I feel too.
It's not the United States Championship.
We got another super chat before we get out of here, man.
We have our last one of the day. This is from Kid, who says, Raylan Devine in Reality of Wrestling.
Raylan Devine. Who is that?
Well, let's
we know her.
I don't know her, but you know what?
Do we know Raylan Devine? I mean, if she got
Raylan Devine was just recently released by the WWE.
Okay.
It looks like she joined along with the same class as those people who got signed up in that combine they held in Vegas a few months back.
Okay.
So,
we'll take a look at it. We'll see what she's all about.
Oh, it's yeah, thank you. I didn't know that was her name. That's Brennan Williams' sister.
Oh, you know what? No, we you know what? She's getting ready to start with Reality of Wrestling real soon.
Yeah. I didn't know that was her name in WWE.
She's getting ready to start Reality Wrestling real soon. So yeah, definitely we're going to be taking her under our wing, teaching her all the tricks of the trades, what not to do, the little bitty things. And trust me, when she go back, she's going to be ready, willing, and able to step right into that women's division and knock everybody off the mark. Trust me on that, with just a little bit of expert tutelage with Booker T down at Reality of Wrestling, that little spot at 10,000 M&F Lowry Expressway. Guys, come on down there and check it out. And if you want any information, just go to realityofwrestling.com. And there again, guys, do it. Do it now. I do it for you. Hey, man, we got to get out of here, man. I want to thank all the super chatters, as well as my man, Brad Gilmore. As always, man, we appreciate you. But right now, peace and love. We out.
Sucker!